Hello, my name is Grace Ritter, and this is my bioecological self-analysis. So at the individual level, I chose middle school time, specifically 7th grade. At this time, I was about 13 years old, with brown hair and brown eyes and freckles, and I was kind of shy. However, if I needed to, I could carry on a conversation, like with a stranger or something. My passions at the time were school, art, and my church. And I chose this time period because at this time I was becoming a lot more independent and much more focused on my academics. In my microsystem, I mainly had my immediate family, which consisted of my mother, my father, my twin brother, and my younger sister. This picture in the middle here is all of us together. This is obviously a more recent picture, seeing as this was graduation in 2018, but I thought it was important to have a picture to show just all of us together. Another part of my microsystem was my grandparents. Both sets of grandparents I was kind of close with. However, my mother's parents lived right up the road from us, so we spent a lot of time there, like in the summers and on weekends and stuff like that sometimes. As well as that, my school was in my microsystem. In my 7th grade time, I really enjoyed this place a lot. So this is Pematic in the bottom right corner. And I've always loved learning. And so this was an enjoyable place for me, especially because it was a really small community. So small communities and learning seem to be things that played a lot into my current strive for being a teacher. So also, as I said, small communities. The place where I am from is a very small community. And so that was also in my microsystem. Next is my mesosystem. So the relationships that impacted me was the relationship between my parents and between my mother and her parents, so my grandparents. This is them in the bottom left corner. They're the ones that lived up the road from us that we spent a lot of time with. So along with this was the relationship between my brother and my sister. And the middle photo here is the three of us all together. And this picture was taken right around 7th grade. And then the last one that was really influential was the relationship between my parents and my brother. And so on the right here, I have a picture of my mother and my twin brother. And they have a very good relationship. However, the reason why it was so impactful for me was that at this time, as I was becoming more independent, my twin brother was becoming more dependent, especially academically. So I was being expected to get great grades and do awesome in school and not need much help with it. Where on the other hand, my parents would check my brother's grades every day and his assignments and help him with homework and things like that. So that was just one place where we kind of had a different experience, even though we were in the same household. So next is my exosystem, and this mainly included my parents' careers. So my father worked at a boatyard that made like yachts and sailboats and such, and so he, being a project manager there, had a very busy schedule. And he also coached volleyball at the local high school. And so he almost had 2 jobs in a way. And so he was very busy and usually would leave maybe around 8 in the morning and not get back until like 6 or 7 at night. And my mom, her career, she's a dental hygienist. And so she also worked busy days because at the office where she worked, around this time they were getting a new dentist to own and run that facility. And so this new woman, who was her new boss, was very demanding, and as well as having her do dentistry work, she was also having her help with like household work, like with her children and with her family and stuff like that. So that became more demanding, which meant that my mom was also away from home more, which I believe also contributed to my gaining independence at this point. And so the final thing in my exosystem was my siblings and their involvement in sports. I didn't do many sports, especially at this age. I think I played softball for like 1 year, and that's pretty much it. But I mean, I did after school activities, but it was mainly like art stuff. So my siblings were really involved in sports, and this very much impacted our whole family because when it was like a season, like for example, if it was the fall time, my brother would be in football and my sister would be in soccer and cross country and probably karate as well. She's very busy. So that would impact us because on top of those busy careers that my parents had, it would make more running around to do and more things that we had to make sure that we were on time for and getting all around. So that also impacted all of us. Next is my macro system. So there's two main things in this, and that would be my community and my religion. So where I'm from is a small island. Well, I'm from a small town that's on a small island that's off the coast of Maine. So over here on the left, this is a aerial view of the island that I'm from. And down in the bottom left of that is the town that I'm from, which is called Southwest Harbor. And so all the way on the right is a picture of the town. As you can see, it's very small. And everybody pretty much knows everybody. So it's one of those things where like you go to the grocery store and it's going to take you probably an hour because you'll know everybody you see there. And I really enjoyed this. And I think it impacted me as well, even in my later decisions to like which college I was going to. I chose Johnson because it was a small community similar to the one that I was experiencing in this period of time in like 7th grade. So finally is religion. So the middle picture here is the picture of the church that my family regularly attended. We were also members, and I think in 7th grade was when I became a member of the church as well as participating all the time in like youth group and later going on to help lead that. So that was very impactful, not just in our schedule, but as well as like just kind of the way we did things and our morals and stuff like that. So next and last, I believe, is my Chrono system. These two things impacted me greatly. So the change in the grading system, that impacted me because it not only kind of tweaked my grades a little bit, but it also changed just how my school just did grading overall. So on the left, you can see a picture of the traditional grading scale versus standards-based grading. So it changed how I was doing things at the time, as well as how I viewed teaching and how I would go on to view teaching later on. And the last thing in my Chrono system is the technology. So technology was developing more and more through this time, and it was being included more, not just in everyday life, but also in the classrooms. So again, I at this time was starting to discover not only that I needed to be more independent and figuring out how that worked for me, but also becoming more serious about academics and learning more about my love for teaching. So seeing these new things coming into the classrooms and watching their roles in there also impacted me.